I've called 4 countries home before that one: France, Canada, Cambodia, Australia, and now Thailand. I really used to think that I would never be able to settle down somewhere. Turns out God was walking me somewhere the whole time, and I had no idea. Hey, I'm Layla, and if you're new here, welcome. Here we talk about faith, real life, and everything in between. And today I just want to talk about how I ended up here in Thailand, because I promise you, none of it was random. I'm 32 years old, so I'm kind of old now. I was born and raised in France, so I lived there up until my 23 years old. And to give you a bit of background, I used to be a police officer, and I also worked like different jobs, kind of like everyone, you know, trying to figure out like what you wanted to do in life. And then I met my ex-husband, and we ended up moving to Canada in 2019, which was actually the first time for me to live in another country than France. Before going to Canada, I've traveled a lot. Like I went to Spain, like in Greece, Crete, like just so many countries in Europe, but I never had the opportunity to live in another country. And so in 2019, that was like a big leap in my life, like just a big turning point, you know. It's like we were gonna move to the English part of Canada. So back then my English was not even that good. In case you didn't notice, I am not like a native English speaker. I do have like a bit of an accent, but yeah, like basically we moved there. And we moved to Kelowna. I don't know if you know that city, but it is in British Columbia, and this is absolutely cute. I definitely recommend living there for a bit if you have the opportunity. And yeah, so I actually lived in Canada for nearly 6 years, and I also became Canadian. So if you need any advices or tips or whatever it is about going to Canada, and if your goal is becoming a Canadian citizen, then just let me know and I can walk you through this as well. I lived there for about 6 years, but I didn't live only in Kelowna. That's where I went with my ex-husband. And then I moved to Vancouver. I also moved to Calgary for a bit. Like Calgary, I stayed there like 2 years, something like that. And I also lived like in a little city called White Rock. It's like about an hour from Vancouver. It's more like a city for retired people, but long story short, I just stayed there like before I moved to Cambodia. So that was kind of like a transition. That was not like a long time thing. But yeah, like I also became personal trainer while I was in Canada. So I got my Canadian certification, and after that I moved to Cambodia. But basically, when I was living in Canada, I had like my first encounter with God as well. So it was like in 2020, and I felt like something like very different shifted in me. So I started to going to church, like every Sunday I was going to church, and it was amazing. And then, you know, like I wanted to travel a lot because I actually got divorced in 2020, and after that I met like a Canadian man, and we were like together for 2 years approximately. And I just wanted to travel like a lot, but just like by myself, because up until that relationship, I was always traveling with someone, and I really wanted to like discover the world like by myself. So I started to travel on my own, and I started with Indonesia. So I went to Jakarta, I went to Bali, I went to different cities in Bali, because they're like they're there is like 7,000 islands in Indonesia. Like that's a lot. So I just went there for like a month, and then I remember back then I was already interested in actually leaving Canada to move to another country in Asia. I just had no clue where, because you know, that was just like me thinking about what do you want to do? What do you want to, like, where do you want to go? And so I had like a friend of mine, like from my hometown. I've known her for like over 15 years, and she was in Cambodia. She was like working on an island in Cambodia, and Kota Kiev Island. And she was working there, and she was like, oh, you should come here and visit me, and da. So I went there for like a week, and I really loved Cambodia. Like I really loved it. And during the week there, I actually got to meet like a lot of women, and I really felt like I could see myself living there. And so even though when I went there, it was like the raining season, and I still got convinced that something was waiting for me there. So I went back to Vancouver, and I finished like to study to become personal trainer. And as soon as I got my certificate, I actually flew back to Cambodia, went to Cambodia for a bit, and I really loved it at first, you know, because it's like a new country, new city, you meet new people all the time. And I was just like, I love it here. Like I really could see myself like developing something like a business or whatever, but it was just not what I thought it would be. Like, you know, it's like sometimes you go somewhere, you feel like, oh, it's great, it's home, but then you're just like, no, actually, after living there for like a month or two, you're like, okay, that's too much, I have to leave. Well, that's pretty much what happened to me after living there for 5 months. I was kind of like fed up, because like the heat, really, that was just like too much for me. Like hot, you know. And also it's kind of like a very underdeveloped country. And even though it was like a blessing to go there, because I love the opportunity to like experience new cultures, new food, to just like expand the knowledge that I have about the world, right? Because God created that world, and you want to be able to see a lot of things. So I was very grateful for this, but then I was like, there is like another calling. Like I'm not meant to stay here longer. And so I actually moved to Australia. So Australia, that's like the turning point of my life. The reason why as well I actually started that channel. Everything happened for me in Australia. Like really, Australia was just like the most beautiful piece, I would say, in my entire life. So like I mentioned before, I encountered God like for the first time in 2020 in Canada, and basically like moving to Australia, that's where God saved me. Like he saved me in Australia, so I will never forget about my experience in Australia. It's just impossible, right? So like to move forward, basically I lived like on Gold Coast for like a year, and I really thought that, you know, after everything that happened for me in Australia, I really thought that I was going to settle down there, because that's very much like the lifestyle I could see for myself. Like I was living near the beach, near the ocean, like I was going for walks every single day, I was going for hikes, and you know, like coffees, and that was just like so beautiful. And I had such like a big community of Christians around me. Like I was going to Bible studies every week, and I had like a really good group of friends that are like my family there, and I was just like spending so much time with them. And yeah, like I was also living with a Christian couple there, like in their house. They were like my parents to me. They really like took me under their wings and like taught me so many things. Definitely Australia, I will never like forget what happened for me there. I'm very, very grateful for all the people that I met and all the experiences that I had. Honestly, I will just never forget about this. And then back in February, I was praying God, you know, like what should I do? Because I really felt like it put into my heart to gather testimonies of people that actually met God and decided to follow Him. So I just had this in my heart, and it was very, very strong. So I actually started to ask people if I could interview them, and I had like a few interviews, but it was nothing that I thought it will be until now in Thailand. So yeah, like in Australia, I was trying to organize everything so it could work perfectly. I actually met up with my pastor there, you know, to actually be able to record testimonies in the church because they were in need of this. Like they really wanted to expand what they were offering to their community, and it sounded like the perfect plan, you know, but for some reason, and it was not God's plan, it didn't happen, which is fine because, you know, everything happens for a reason. And I could quote like Proverbs 3:5, like trust in the Lord and do not rely on your own understanding. So that's what I did. And in February, I actually started that YouTube channel because I really wanted to talk about my journey, my faith. Like it was so important for me. So that's when it all started. And then around like the end of April, beginning of May, I had a chat with the family I was living with, and it was kind of like the time for me to move on and to do something else with my life. So I really needed this to actually, you know, like fly with my own wings. And it's like in the Bible, it says, you know, like you are drinking milk, but at some point you need to eat the solid food to have like a stronger identity in Christ and to have like a stronger relationship with God and everything that comes with it. And so basically I feel like moving to Thailand was me going from drinking milk to eating solid food, and that's exactly how it feels. And I can see all the changes that happened since I'm here. Like it's been only a month and a half and so much already happened. So now I really understand why God wanted me to actually come here in Thailand. So it didn't just happen like this, right? It's I also like prayed a lot about where I should go because I knew that I was not gonna stay in Australia. Like if I want to dive in a bit, because I really thought I was gonna settle down there. I even did meet like a Christian man, and I was really serious about him. And I was praying, you know, I was praying God to know if it was like what He wanted for me, because I was really serious about that relationship. And so we dated for like 5 months, and then we were talking marriage and all this, you know. That was not just like dating for the sake of dating. That was an actual, like, we were dating to get married later on. And after 5 months in that relationship, he told me that basically he was not like ready to move on and had things to kind of like deal with regarding his childhood and all this. So at first I thought, you know, maybe I should wait and be patient and all this, because it's really not easy when you're Christian to know if God wants you to wait for that man or not. But God shows you, like He showed me exactly what I should do and what I should not do. And that's also the reason why I'm here, because God did not want me to be with that man. And I've learned so much, like, thanks to that relationship. So that's really a good thing. Like, I'm very positive with everything that happens into my life. Like, I don't see anything that happens negatively, you know, like, even though that was a hard thing to process, like to face that breakup, like for a good 2, 3, 4 weeks maybe, I was just like kind of devastated, like, God, like, why did you do this to me, you know? But then you understand why he did this to you. And so fast forward, I obeyed God and I came here because I really prayed about Thailand. I knew that I had to leave Australia because that relationship was basically what was keeping me there. I had a plan of like study. So I was gonna be studying for like 2 years. I had everything mapped out. I found the school. I had like my student visa ready. I paid all the fees. Like everything was like ready, you know, like I already spent the money to stay an extra 2 years in Australia. And really, I wanted to settle down in Australia. Like seriously, I didn't see any other ways for me, or I even didn't want to live in another country. Like I really loved Australia so much that I didn't want to leave. But then that breakup happened, and then that discussion that I had with the family I was living with, just everything was kind of like showing me that it was time for me to move on and do something else with my life. And so I prayed a lot, and I just like listened to what God wanted me to do, and I let him guide me. And that's the reason why I'm here today, because he really wanted me to do something for his kingdom, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So since I'm here, Thailand has been such like a beautiful experience. God provided me with a beautiful house, and never I thought I could actually have like a beautiful house like I have right now. Like I'm going to give you a tour later down the road. But basically God provided me with a beautiful house. He provided me with like beautiful church. He provided me with like beautiful friends as well. Like I met Thai people, English people, French people as well. And I feel like I'm home right now. Like I really feel like I'm home, and I already have like friends that wants to come to visit me here. I actually have like a friend that I met in Australia that's coming to visit me in August. So it's like I really feel that I have a purpose now. Back in February, like I mentioned, God really wanted me to actually gather testimonies, and since I'm here, I already like got people lined up to get interviewed. I'm gonna be able to share testimonies on my channel, which I really wanted to do, and God wants me to do this for him, for his glory. So I'm obedient, and I'm going to do this. And also one day, I was not even expecting this, because you know, I'm not the type of person that's just like asking things to people out there on the internet. And then I don't know, like one day I just like posted something on Threads about like people wanting to share the testimonies, like if there were any Christians on fire that wanted to like share the testimonies and all this. And I got like over 70 people interested in sharing their testimonies. Like over 70 people, man, like you heard me. And so like 70 people, that's a lot. So basically everything just like started from there. So I was able to actually start like a podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts as well. It's just like the beginning, but God is showing me that I have a purpose. I have a purpose here, and living in Thailand is giving me that possibility to do this, because the cost of living is so cheap, and I can actually focus on doing everything I want to do. Like and it's just like allowing me to expand my relationship with God, to meet other people that are followers of God, and just like to spread the gospel through my YouTube channel, because it takes so much time to create content that if I was still living in Australia and working, I would not be able to put as much work that I am doing right now in my YouTube channel, in my podcast, and like meeting people. Like, so far, after like, I don't know, like, you know, it's been like a week and a half that it all started out, and I already interviewed maybe like 7 people, you know, doing video calls with people like in Africa, in the United States, in Europe. And I'm just like, wow, this is just like so powerful what God has in store for me. That's just like, I cannot even comprehend, you know. So I started to create everything around this, and I'm gonna be like hosting a podcast, like First Talks with Layla, and people are going to share the testimonies all over the world. And so if you're watching that video and you also want to be able to share testimonies on my podcast, please email me to the email address that I will be putting in the description. And I would love to hear your story and to share your story with the world, because testimonies are so precious. They are like unique pieces that you cannot keep for yourself. Like, you cannot keep for yourself what God has done for you in your life. Like, really, it's impossible. And I keep thinking that one testimony can actually help one person. It can save one person, and one person can say yes to God, yes to following Jesus. Just one person, because of one testimony. So yeah, like, if you see this, please don't hesitate to actually like email me, and I would love to chat with you. So I just created everything, you know, like a short questionnaire to actually understand a bit more about you, your story, where you live. And I just see so many beautiful stories and hear so many beautiful stories that I cannot stop doing this, you know, I cannot stop doing this. And I have so many other projects that I'm currently building, and I know that it's gonna like go very, very further down. Like, it's gonna be big things that I'm building, but it takes time, and I have to trust like God's pace, because I'm a very impatient woman, and when I have an idea, basically I want to write everything down, and I want to do everything right now, and I want result right now. So God is showing me also like to be patient, to trust His timing. And actually, when I was like studying the Bible story last Sunday, I was studying Ecclesiastes, and chapter 2 says there is a time for everything. There is a time for silence. There is a time for speaking. Actually, this is like there. Like, I just want to share with you here, chapter 2. No, sorry. It's actually not chapter 2, but chapter 3. A time for everything. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to tear and a time to sue. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. I loved it. Like, seriously, Ecclesiastes is such a good book. But anyway, just saying that right now I am building something, and there is a time for everything. So right now that's kind of like the foundation, but I'm just so excited about where it's gonna take me, because I know it's gonna take me somewhere. I have no idea, but God knows. God knows, and once I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna look back and I'm gonna be like, oh, God, you did such an incredible work in my life. Like, thank you so much. And I have no doubt that it took me all the way to Thailand to do something big. Not just like for me to drink coffee, be on the beach and just like wait, you know. And every day I work really hard. And I love what I'm doing. I mean, you can tell I'm just so on fire. But yeah, like I just want to say that God has planned for us and it took me here for a reason. So looking back now, I can say that each of these countries were actually preparing me for something bigger. And I'm so grateful I had the opportunity to live in all these countries. And now that I am here building something very big, something that God has in store for me. And He's showing me every single day what I am supposed to do. And if I ever doubt, I just remember of these moments, you know, where I felt lots of joy and I felt like I was fulfilling my calling. And it's so important to remember this, because there will be days where you're gonna be up and there are gonna be days where you're gonna be down. So it's very, very important to remember that God is always here and He's walking with you along the way. You're never alone. If there is like something that's steering you in here in my video, please stick close, because I'm building something that's gonna be big, and I want you to see this. I'm building in public because I think it's important to build in public to show that God is very powerful. And just for that reason, I have no shame at all to show to the people where I'm coming from and where I'm going to. Like, there is no reason to not show that God is so powerful that He can do miracles in every single one of us lives. So I want to show to people that God can do miracles in our lives. Like in our lives, He can do so big miracles. And for me, this is the miracle that right now is happening. So I'm building life, and there is no shame, there is no apprehension, and I trust the Lord. So brothers, sisters, pray for me. Pray for that project of mine and of God's, that it's gonna work and it's gonna lead us somewhere all together. We are doing this for the kingdom of God, and I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for Him, for His glory, and to show the world that He can actually save lives and He can do so much big things in our lives. So please follow along, subscribe, like, comment, share. You know how it works. The algorithm needs this. So please support me in that project. And if you want to share your testimony, just email me. I reply to all comments, to all emails. I'm here for you. See you there.
Bless you, but no one heals the soul that's bruised and